As the gentleman from Pennsylvania, Dr. Joyce, for his 5 minutes of questioning.
Thank you, Chairman, for holding this important hearing, and to Administrator Zeldin for testifying with us today. Under your leadership, Administrator Zeldin, the EPA has returned to science-based decision-making rather than advancing ideological conclusions that ultimately put our nation's energy supply and critical supply chains at risk. Thank you. Thank you for that strong direction you have provided from the top of the agency on down. And I look forward to continuing to work with you and this committee as we look to bring America back to scientifically sound regulatory regime. In order to highlight the incredible steps that the EPA has taken in such a short period of time, I ask for unanimous consent to enter into the accounting of the EPA environmental achievements during the first year of the Trump administration that was released on January 20th, 2026 into the record.
It's in the record, thank you.
Focusing now on some recent actions that have been taken by the EPA. Administrator Zeldin, what is the legal basis that the EPA relies on when requiring the reallocation of small refinery exemptions?
So the way that the process works under the law, following congressional action that was taken a couple of decades ago, the Department of Energy produces a document that is utilized to ensure and applied equally across the board. We do not have any individual adjudication. It is not based off of people calling me up from the Hill and trying to get special treatment for one over the other. But I will say that it's something that can be reformed through congressional legislation that I look forward to working with you on. You have some small refineries that do not get approval at all. Some got partial, some got full. And it was through an application of the DOE study, the DOE math, and to be done fairly across the board. But I'll say it's based on congressional statute from a couple decades ago. And I have plenty of thoughts for anybody who wants to talk about that entire process with SREs. We inherited a backlog of 175. Fortunately, we got rid of all of it. We've received some new applications since, and the transparent approach that we will continue to pursue is consistent with the one that we had pursued last year.
Based on the EPA's understanding of the relevant statute regarding the renewable fuel standard, would congressional action be necessary to prevent such reallocation?
Yes.
Administrator Zeldin, for several years, I've raised concern about the impact of EPA rules governing ethylene oxide and how that is utilized for the sterilization of medical devices. Thank you for your recent announcement that the EPA will reconsider and revise these rules to reflect the available science and protect the safety of medical device chain in the sterilization process. Moving forward, how can EPA ensure that regulations are based on gold standard science so that we can avoid the disruptions that come with unrealistic regulations?
So there's been uncertainty associated with the IRIS value for a long time, well recognized, including uncertainties related to the choice of dose response model used to produce the IRIS value and other uncertainties in the underlying data. EPA is requesting comment on newer studies and methods that may influence the agency's understanding of ETO's carcinogenic potency is consistent with Executive Order 14303, restoring gold standard science. EPA is committed to the highest standards of scientific integrity and reliance on the best available scientific information. So the process is one where we created an Office of Applied Science and Environmental Solutions. We're integrating science and research more directly with program offices. We are empowering the dedicated career staffers of this agency who are experienced. They take their jobs seriously and they do a fantastic job, and it's been an honor to be able to work alongside them. We also want to make sure that we are providing radical transparency to the American public on the studies that were used. And lastly, what I found too often in the past was that if you get a wide range of studies and there's some anomaly of a study where maybe because the sample size was too small or the exposure level was 100 times reality, that study would get dismissed as an anomaly. The thing is that you have people who are concerned moms and dads in this country who know of that study. They might go to the EPA's webpage looking for an answer on that study. They're looking for that study, but because it might be pushed to the side as an anomaly, you don't see it discussed at all. I think that the agency could do a much better job, not just talking about the best available gold standard science that's being relied upon, but also be acknowledging the studies that you might feel as an agency aren't the most reliable, because that might be the study that that member of the public is looking for. So gold standard science isn't just an internal process, it's also about communication with the public.
My time has expired, but Administrator Zeldin, I want to once again express my support for the work that you have already done. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Now recognize the gentlelady